range. About 3,500 birds are killed each year at Utah State University after colliding with buildings there.
Now a group of researchers are trying to do something about it. Northern Utah specialist Mike Anderson reports why this is a larger nationwide problem that threatens the bird population.
Reaching into a freezer.
These are the birds that we have collected in like the last
Biology professor Kimberly Sullivan
maybe month to 6 weeks.
Pulls out just a small sample of what's been found on the Utah State University campus.
We only get a fraction of the bodies that are actually, the birds that are actually killed because many of them are taken by cats or crows.
Several species of birds, all that flew at high speeds into buildings around campus.
Probably about 10 a day probably are lost on campus.
The trouble is birds don't see windows the same way we do. They may not realize that they're looking at a reflection when it comes to areas like the Sky Bridge. If they can see all the way through it, they may think they can just keep on flying.
A research team is now looking into the problem, made up of several volunteers.
We have all these high windows.
And 2 undergrad students like Rachel Sagers.
The trees reflect on those windows and the birds will just run into them. They'll take off from these trees after feeding and run into them and drop down into the bushes.
The year-long study is now about halfway through.
Yeah, it's pretty upsetting. I'm not a fan of finding them, but you know, we have to do something to change this.
And at the end, they'll provide some recommendations on improving visibility and landscaping.
So trees that are planted 15 to 45 feet from the window. It's called the death zone.
Several problem areas have been identified, like the University Inn, that is covered with reflective windows. It's just a small part of a nationwide problem, where Sullivan says about 1 billion birds are killed every year.
It's a lot of birds. It's a lot of dead birds.
She's hopeful Utah State University will take some steps to improve those numbers.
Yes, it's very sad.
It's at least a start.
I mean, they're beautiful birds, beautiful colored birds, and to see them lying dead on the ground or a pile of feathers is very hard, especially when it's a daily occurrence.
Mike Anderson, KSL 5 News.